Welcome to the Extreme Channel. My name is Mr. X, and today we're taking an in-depth look at this high-end collectible. And I have to warn you, because of the Kukaju virus, this very well could happen to you. Mr. X on the Extreme Channel here, reviewing 1/3 scale Elite Creature Collectible Reaper statue from the Blade 2 movie. Had no plans on getting this piece, but as I said in the intro, the Kurabi virus is just really messing up all the new statues coming in, and I've always had my eye on it, and it popped up as a good deal. So originally retails for about $2,200. I ended up getting him for $1,500 shipped, which is pretty cool because it was a very large box, but unfortunately I did have some damages we're going to talk about in design. One of the reasons I never really wanted to purchase this guy is he's 1/3 and the majority of my horror collection is actually 1/4 with one or two exceptions. And this guy, honestly, I don't even know where I'm going to put him, but I just could not pass that good of a deal. So if you're unfamiliar with this is from the movie Blade 2. Blade 2 is a movie about a half vampire, half human named Blade, played by Wesley Snipes. And actually, I reviewed a 1/4 scale custom piece of the main character in this review right here. And this is from the second installment where they came out with their creature called a Reaper. Now, if you haven't seen this movie and you don't want to hear spoilers, go ahead and fast forward about 1 minute.
But in that movie, there's a new creature out there called Reapers that look like this, and you find out that they were actually mistakenly engineered by the vampire clans to try and become daywalkers like Blade, where they could survive, silver and sunlight. And these guys actually feed on vampires, so vampires are no longer on top of the evolutionary food chain, so Blade is hired by the vampires to try and stop these guys.
And I believe this particular guy is not the main villain, his name was Nomak, Jared or something like that. This is just a random Reaper that's going out there. He just killed a vampire down here, which we're going to talk about in concept. But I'm very happy I have him because he's made, as I said, by Elite Creature Collectibles, or ECC. They do some very, very high-end stuff. I have a number of pieces from them. One of my favorites is this Mohawk Gremlin right here. And if you're looking at this and you're a fan of the channel, you're probably thinking that, hey, this actually looks a little bit familiar. That's because I have a life-size bust of this guy. And it's also by Elite Creature Collectibles. You can go ahead and check out the review right here. It's an amazing piece. Now, before we jump in, we are doing a giveaway. We are giving away these 2 Venom statues. And this is just one of many giveaways, so if you're interested to find out how this is going down, stay tuned towards the end of the video. Now let's dive into the review. We're going to use the extreme scale as always, and we will start with concept as we always do. Starting right here at the base, it is a interesting base. So I don't believe this is taken directly from the movie, but it's this white marble textured base, and on top of it you actually have some vampire hieroglyphics and some blood pooling, which actually reminds me of Blade 1 quite a bit more than Blade 2 because this aspect wasn't in the movie. As I said, you have a dead vampire head in the back. We'll see close-ups with paint and sculpt. He ripped his head off because not only do they feed on the blood, but they kind of mutilate their victims. And as we move up, all of these were formerly humans, formerly vampires, so this was a vampire that was really into some weird stuff. The leather pants, he's got all these jewelries, kind of a biker, chains, crosses. Apparently crosses don't hurt vampires in this movie. A skull belt, and his shirt is ripped off, which is indicative of a lot of these creatures in the movie, and some of their features are really elongated. You see that in his fingers. Moving up, nice little nip ring. And he just fed on a vampire, presumably the one whose head is on the bottom, so there is blood all over the place. Not only pooling at the bottom of the base, but here all around his mouth. And this is where his mouth is opening up. This is what people really liked about the creatures. And one of the things we're going to talk about is I like how his mouth is not fully open like it is in the bust, so it's different. So the tongue hasn't the flower blossom sucky thing out. That's the professional word for it. And he's just lunging forward, slowly walking, ready to get another victim. He's had his fill, kind of like a crack addict. I think they're even compared to that in the movie. And this is what it actually looks like in the movie right here. So I like a lot of things they did with the concept. I like how they made it a little bit different from the base. It's not truly accurate to the movie. They put the Blade symbol, or the Blade movie title, at the bottom here. ECC always does that. I'm not a fan of that. I like the fact they had a killed vampire. I'm not a huge fan of the pose. I mean, he's kind of not for me, but I do like the fact that they showed his mouth open and they showed it differently than the ECC bust. So I think overall on the concept, it's a V. It's very nice. I think the pose is a little bit awkward. The base doesn't make a ton of sense. It's not 100% movie accurate. Now we'll jump into the design. A few different things with the design. We talk about displayability, we talk about packaging, we talk about seams, switch outs, things like that. Well, first of all, as I said, mine was broken when it arrived. There was quite a few issues with the packaging. It was very old. There was thousands of those tiny white things everywhere. I'm still finding them everywhere. It took me probably an hour to clean all them up. And so the packaging wasn't very good, and it caused this damage. The hand was broken off and in two pieces. And then here you can see on the wrist where it's broken off. So I've semi-repaired it. And I know the seller was extremely afraid of it breaking. He said that like 10 times and then it broke. So he's all one piece. You essentially only have two pieces to put this together, the base and the Reaper himself. And then there is also a necklace here. Here's a picture of it, which I think he was supposed to be holding with his hand. And here ECC always comes with a COA, which is nice. And a little book about the making of the creature and the creature itself, which I think is another bonus, nice little Easter egg. They tend to charge a little bit more, so a little bit higher in quality. Let's get dimensions on this guy really quick. So the widest point is about 16 inches. So the base, the diameter of the base is 16 inches. He is 27.5 inches with the base. Without the base, about 25 inches. So true 1/3 scale. I don't like that it's 1/3 scale. I would have much preferred 1/4 scale, not only because he lines up with all the other characters, but 1/3 scale is traditionally what ECC does with their maquettes, so it makes sense. This is technically classified as a maquette. No switch outs or anything like that. ECC rarely does that. Kind of what you see is what you get. One notable part about design, while there aren't switch outs, the base does light up. Here's a picture without it lit up, and then here is a quick video with it actually lit up. It is an AC adapter. It does have an on and off switch, which is neat. So that's a cool feature. So design-wise, again, there's nothing that really blows my mind, nothing that's amazing. I think it's right in the middle at a V. Very nice design. Jumping into paint and sculpt, this is where ECC traditionally shines. If you saw that video on the bust, then you know that it is phenomenally done. And with this guy, we're going to find out if that's the same. So starting at the base here, like I said, I like this. It looks like a real marble base. I like the coloring on it. I like all the cracks they added. Not only some painted cracks, but some actual sculpted cracks in there. Even though I'm not a fan of having the movie name on the front, it looks really cool. They use the same logos for Blade. I like the gold. It contrasts it. Let's look at the top of the base. There's some pros and cons here. As I said, you see the vampire hieroglyphics, kind of similar to the end scene of Blade 1, which the Reapers weren't in. And the blood is pooled in there, and it's not only pooled in there, but there's droplets of it all over the base. And here's the thing, I think the blood is very accurate to what blood would look like in real life, how it's pooled, the very dark color, the gleam off of it. However, it's not what you traditionally see in movies. In movies, it doesn't look like real blood. They make it look different for cinematic effects. So it looks fake on here too, because of that reason. I know I just contradicted myself, but that's my opinion. That's all these reviews are, by the way. Let's take a closer look at the vampire head. This could definitely have been better. First, I understand the pale skin. He's a dead vampire, so that makes sense. I like how his eyes are rolling in the back of his head. But there's just not a lot of texture on this, so the skin just looks really, really fake, and I understand he's a vampire. The inside of the mouth, I wish they would have made the fangs bigger. And there's also just a lot left to be desired. Usually I like a gloss effect on the tongue. Check out his hair. His hair looks okay. There is some blood throughout. And then where his neck was ripped off on the back, this looks really good. I like this. This is not removable. It's a permanent part of the base. And then as we look at the Reaper, first the boots, fully sculpted. I like how there's some creases in there. Great stitching. I'm kind of curious some of the concept they went here, that they decided to go with like with a biker, all leather, some of the stuff we're going to see. And as you move up his pants, these are mixed media, meaning they are actual, I think these might be real leather, to be honest with you, or they're substitute leather. So good texture on them. The way they fold obviously depends on how you have it displayed, so you can move it a little bit. On the sides, he kind of has and you probably see some of those white pieces in here, some straps on the side with some medieval type bat buckles. So he's really embracing his vampirism. Check out all the chains. These are mixed media as well, real chains and crosses. His belt, skulls, little cool design on it. Again, also mixed media. His shirt is torn and it's hanging in the back. I'm not sure if I like this or not. It may be removable. I'm not going to try though. Rather keep it as it is. A little bit different cloth material. Now let's move to the Reaper's body, and first I would kind of want to talk about the body itself, so we're going to jump around a little bit in the paint. But first thing I want to look at are the veins here. So one of the characteristics of the Reaper is these veins that you see bulging through the skin, and these are all painted on here. They're not sculpted in, but I like the colors of them. I like the directionality. Some are darker than others. I think that's smart. It's not a translucent skin, but it almost looks like it is. It's interesting how they did that. Maybe it's because of the coloring of the skin, very pale. A few different variations of shadowing in there, and it looks really good. I think it's very movie accurate. It reminds me of the bust a lot, but a little bit different. However, the paint job is not amazing. Some of the cool things, let's look at his back really quick. You have a few different things going on here. As I said, a lot of the features are very elongated. His torso seems that way. The spine going up the back. You see more of the skin veins and colors that we talked about. And then here you see more of those white things that I'm just having trouble getting out. I'm gonna have to go in with tweezers. So his shoulder blades kind of pop out of the back, and we saw this a few different times in the movie. And right in the middle of that are 4 holes, which I don't think these were ever explained, but they secrete kind of a liquid. I don't like the secretion job they did. It looks like they just painted on whiteout, which is very uncharacteristic of ECC. Usually they do much better. But let's talk about the musculature. They did a really good job. So these guys are very lean, but it doesn't mean they're weak. Almost zero body fat, probably somewhat of the characteristics of this creature. So you see good musculature. He's in shape. He's not, he's skinny, but he's powerful. And you see that on his front torso as well. A lot of different things going on here. Their rib cages really protruded quite a bit, and they got that on the statue here. While he's very skinny on the front, you see a lot of other stuff going on. Namely, you start with the blood dripping down. Again, to me, it's not bad, but it's not ECC's best work. You see an actual nipple ring. One of the interesting things is he has all these chains. These are actually locked on. You can't move them. I don't know if they're glued on in a particular spot. And I kind of like that actually, so it's not swinging all over the place, messing up the paint. Let's look at his hands really quick. Very elongated fingers, very Nosferatu. Let's look at his hands really quick. Very elongated fingers, very pale. Blood on those because he just ripped that guy's head off. The nails look great. There's something about the paint job though, and I don't know if it's the creature itself or the way it was applied that I'm just not digging, but very Nosferatu. I know I said that wrong. And of course, the reason you buy this statue, the reason I bought it is because of the portrait. Let's look at that. Not only is this the reason you buy it, but this is amazing. They did a fantastic job. First, I want to talk about the dome, his dome. They have kind of these elf ears, and on his dome, you see the veins that ran throughout the whole body, just like the bust. Check out his eyes. They did a great job on his eyes. Very scary. They honestly look real as I'm staring into him right now. And let's look at his mouth. There's so much going on. So they did add a nice gloss effect, which I really like, to insinuate saliva. He has the teeth all over. Some of his teeth were actually pulled back in the upper corners, you can see. And then the teeth in the his upper teeth, and he has some huge fangs behind that, almost like a python. And on the bottom, this huge spike. And then he has what I call the flower sucker thing. That's the professional term. In midst transformation, about to come out, and it is scary as hell. and you see all these veins and purples and reds and browns and yellows in there that just really make this pop. It makes this creature look extremely scary, which I think was one of the great things about this movie, is introducing a new type of character that was so scary and so different. So what's really interesting, if I was to grade the mouth with paint and sculpt compared to some of the other parts, it would be different, but we have to look at the statue as a whole. So realistically, I think paint and sculpt, this guy actually gets a V. It's a very nice as well. I don't think it's anything amazing. Unfortunately, I do hold the bar higher with Elite Creature Collectibles because they are known for some really great pieces. I also have their Lycan bust. My Grail pieces are actually from ECC right here, the Marcus and Lycan. I would love to get these, especially now that I have this 1/3 scale right here. Those are probably huge though. That's what she said. So we're not going to talk about value because he's an older piece, but I got him at a steal. I got him way under retail. I probably got him almost 1,000 under retail with shipping. So I'm not going to complain about that. So I still think he was a good buy. Overall of this statue, it doesn't take a math major to figure out that the average of 4 3s is 3. So he's a very nice. I think it's a very nice statue. One of the things I think it has going for it, which almost elevate it into the next category, is nobody really has done statues of him, and he is such a cool creature. He really is. He's very different. He's very cool. He's not as cool as those Venom pieces we talked about, though. So if you want to know how to win those Venom pieces, first thing you got to do is make sure you have liked this video and you have subscribed and hit that bell notification, because when we hit the 10,000 subs, we're launching that. Another thing that helps it is to get those Venom statues is comment below. What do you think of this piece? Is it worth $2,200? Or is it worth $1,500? Or what is it worth in your mind? So comment that below as well. Like lately, I'm going to show some close-up videos here at the end with this piece. But yeah, I just need to figure out where I'm going to put it. That's what she said. Take care, guys.